Hi everyone, Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer coming to you from the Streaming Center at Fox 19 Now. Sorry, running a little late. Wanted to add a couple of things to the show tonight. Had a lot of stuff going on, so I'll be with you in just a second. We are again talking about some nice weather coming our way, and say hallelujah for Mother's Day. The weather forecast is looking absolutely great, and there's nothing we like better than to have great weather for Mom on her day, Mother's Day. So I will be getting to you in just a second. Still got to get the log into the weather computer. So okay. So what we're looking at for the next couple of days is we've got dry weather overnight, dry weather tomorrow evening through Thursday, periods of rain. It clears out on Friday, and then the weekend looks spectacular. As a matter of fact, warm weather, cool mornings, lots of sunshine. If you're heading down to TQL Stadium for FC Cincinnati's match on Saturday, it looks good for that. Okay, and of course, every time you go anywhere, this corporation that I work for, just a second. It's so security conscious that I've got to log in literally a dozen times a day for a shift. So there we go. All right. And what you should see coming up here any second is the first frame of our time lapse. That first frame of our time lapse from Newport on the Levy camera. And again, okay, I've got a couple more buttons to push here. Man, I tell you what, if it wasn't for all these buttons. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this time lapse of the day. It starts at 2:18 p.m. and it's kind of nice. All those cumulus are what we call fair weather cumulus, just puffy, flat-bottom cotton balls floating through the sky. They thicken up a little bit, but as we get past the peak heating, they tend to dissipate. And look at that, how they're just falling apart. So what happens here, when you get those cumulus clouds forming, literally the sun heats the ground, okay? The ground absorbs the solar radiation, and then it then heats the air from below, and then the air that's warmed by the ground rises. It rises to what we call the condensation level. So as it rises from the ground, it cools, cools, cools. Eventually it gets to the point where it's cooled to the dew point, or 100% relative humidity, and as it continues to rise, you get the flat bottom and you get the clouds over top of that forming, okay? So, and it's interesting, we are in daylight saving time, so the peak solar radiation is at 1:37 p.m. right on the longitude of Cincinnati. So it's a little earlier than that if you're in Hillsborough. It's a little later than that if you're over in Ripley County and Versailles. Okay? And you think, everybody thinks, oh, noon's when the sun's the strongest. No, it's not. When we're on standard time, it's at 12:37 p.m. When we're on daylight saving time, it's at 1:37 p.m. And that's because our time zone is based on the 75th meridian. Cincinnati's 84.5 degrees west. Our time zone's based on 75 degrees west, and it literally takes from noon to 37 minutes after noon for the sun to be as high as it gets in the sky over top of us. So 75th meridian, they're on the east coast, and 37 minutes later, the sun is as high as it is in the sky. You get the strongest solar radiation, and then it takes about 2 hours for all that solar radiation to be absorbed and to be returned to the air and cause the cumulus clouds, so that usually after 3:30, 4 o'clock, you begin to see them fall apart, and that's what you have right there on that monitor behind me. I tell you what, we can look at this again if you want. Give me a second, I'll restart it, and you'll see what I mean, okay? So let's, okay, so this is at 2:20 p.m., so this is 1:37, 23, it's 43 minutes past peak solar radiation. Now watch the clouds ever so slightly thicken up as we head past this, okay? So You see the clouds, look, they're becoming more, look at that, they're becoming thicker and more widespread. And then we end up with getting past peak heating and beginning to cool off, and the clouds literally fall apart. Okay, that's because, again, the sun heats the ground heats the air from below, those bubbles of warmed air rise. When they cool to the dew point, that's 100% relative humidity, you get condensation, you get that little puffy cloud forming right above the condensation level, and then once the sun sets, you no longer have the energy for that air to be warmed and rise. And so it's one of those things that it's like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that when I was learning meteorology. Okay, so let's take a look at another time lapse. This is the one from Turfway Park. And you can see what happened during the day. Look at the blue sky come out, and then it just got better and better and better and better as we headed on into the evening hours. And there you see, same situation, just a few scattered clouds left off on the horizon there, and 67 degrees right next door to Turfway Park at the International Airport. Okay, let's see. All my levels look good. So we shouldn't have any issues out there. Nothing going on in the viewing area. Now, you see the rain that came through earlier today? It's that pesky upper level low. Okay, that upper level low is over this way now, like this, heading off to the north and east, but it just took forever to leave the tri-state. Now that this is gone, it's gone for good. That rain won't come back. We'll have a mostly clear night tonight. We'll get a few high clouds tomorrow, courtesy of the next weather maker, which doesn't get here till Wednesday late evening or overnight into Thursday. So we zoom out here, and you can see the next weather maker off to the south and west, moving into Memphis right now. And at the rate it's moving, it'll bring moisture in here overnight. We'll get some of that cloud cover. So the cloud cover we get overnight will be associated with this. You see a little thin stuff here, thicker as you get closer to Memphis. And so that arrives first, then the rain comes in. And there's a chance that if you're down here in the southwestern part of our viewing area, so if you're around Madison, Indiana, if you're down in Owen County, down in Switzerland or Ohio counties, you may pick up a sprinkle before the sun sets. But it looks like it's going to hold off until overnight. And then Thursday looks like a pretty wet day. Right now, I would just count on Thursday being wet with a few breaks in the rainfall. But things look much, much better as we head on into Friday. Things are going to clear out pretty nicely and quickly out there. As a matter of fact, by the time we get to Friday morning, skies, according to some models, may already be mostly clear. So this is 7 a.m. tomorrow. That rainfall that's moving into Memphis now is already almost to southwest Indiana. And so we'll put this into motion. And right there, that's 1:40 a.m. Thursday. Okay. Now, at 1:40 a.m. Thursday, the rain is continuing to move to the north and east. No severe thunderstorms, no flooding rains, just typical rainfall. And watch what happens. It continues to move to the north and east, and it looks like most of the day Thursday is going to be wet, but by the time we get to 5:50 p.m. on Thursday, the rain is already beginning to push to the south, and even though I don't have the cloud cover on here, we'll still have some cloud cover Friday. It's going to gradually clear out through the day, and then watch. Nothing going on Saturday, nothing going on Sunday, except for some sunshine. Should be a great Mother's Day, although late Mother's Day clouds will increase because watch what happens on Monday. By the time we get to Monday, we've got some rain coming in and a little bit more in the area on Tuesday. So sunset this evening at 8:36, so we're about an hour and 12 minutes from sunset. We dropped to 58 by 11 p.m. Overnight, we are talking about a low temperature of 50. Now, low temperatures in rural and suburban areas, especially valleys and low spots, will be between 45 and 50. So kind of chilly in some areas. For the most part around the 50-degree mark. And then tomorrow, the sun sets at 8:38, and we're looking at a high temperature of 75. So it should be a very nice day tomorrow with some high, thin cloud cover increasing over the tri-state, giving us some filtered sunshine. Okay, the Climate Prediction Center is saying that what we're going to see here, oops, I hit the wrong button. Let's go back to the 6 to 10-day outlook. A large area up here with much warmer than normal weather from Wisconsin back into Nebraska and South Dakota. When that's the warmest, we're right on the border to the second and third warmest, so substantially warmer than normal from the 12th to the 16th of May. If you look at the 8 to 14-day outlook, Same thing. I mean, it's substantially warmer than normal all the way out to the 20th of May. And then according to the Climate Prediction Center, now this is the one that's done on Fridays only. The other graphics that I just showed you are updated daily. This won't be updated this Friday, but it's keeping us warmer than normal. You can see that right on through the 1st of June. So we are talking about warmer than normal weather on the way. What about precipitation? Well, precipitation will be near to a bit less than normal for the most part around the tri-state through the 16th, through the 20th, about normal, and then about normal as we head toward the 1st of June. So what that means is we're going to warm up. So the soil's going to warm up more. The cicadas are going to come out once that soil temperature hits, I forget the temperature, but once it hits that level, the cicadas, hey, okay, time to go. So the cicadas will come out and things will begin to bloom and evaporation will take place much more quickly. Once the soil warms up and we get days of sunshine, we'll start seeing things dry out pretty quickly. So right now what we see here may mean that some farmers have to delay planting a little bit in some of the low, backwater areas, some of the floodplain areas that they farm. But uplands that are well drained should dry out pretty quickly and be working pretty nice. And then, of course, the summer outlook, and this will be updated here in let's see, 6th, it'll be updated in about 10 days. So we're talking about warmer than normal for the summer. That's for meteorological summer, June, July, and August. And precipitation-wise, they're saying near normal precipitation. So everybody's wondering, A, about are farmers going to be delayed getting into the fields? Probably not, except some of those fields that are low-lying and have a high water table. It's going to take them a while to dry out, but upland fields should be okay. And then they're also wondering about, are we going to have a repeat drought this year? It does not look like it at this point. Okay, so we're not thinking that there will be another drought, and we're not thinking it'll be an extremely hot summer either around the tri-state. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 7-day forecast. 7-day looks like this. We've got a low of 50 tonight, 75 the high tomorrow, 53 and 69 on Thursday. Thursday, scattered rain and storms in the forecast, as I showed you on the map there. Friday, clearing, sunshine, and nice on Saturday. The high 69, that means temperatures dropping into the upper 50s by the end of the soccer match that FC Cincinnati plays at TQL Stadium on Saturday. Low of 50, a high of 72 on Mother's Day. Great weather for Mom. I remember oftentimes when Mother's Day came around, we always, not always, but almost every Mother's Day went down to Crone Conservatory to take Grandma down there and show her Mother's Day. It seemed like the weather was so crummy. This year, it looks pretty good. 75 and 78 for Monday and Tuesday. Monday, maybe a shower. Tuesday, scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. Okay, and beyond the 7-day forecast goes out to the 20th of the month. We're already getting close to June on this forecast. So we're looking at a few showers, 14th and 15th, 16th dry, a few more showers, 17th and 18th, and then drying out the 19th and 20th. Now what's important to recognize here is none of these situations with rain is one of those big storms that stalls over you and causes flooding. We're just talking about some typical springtime shower and thunderstorm activity. So we are not looking at any major rain events coming our way, just smaller systems with showers. Okay, so, and then as you look at those high temperatures, they do trail off into the low 70s by the time we get to around the 20th, and that's a little bit cooler than normal. So here is all 14 days in one graphic, high temperatures, low temperatures. Now when we compare these to normal, you're going to see that we go from below normal by Friday to above normal for a stretch of time, starting basically above normal on the 12th and staying above normal through the 16th. So it's a pretty nice stretch. Did I say that right? 12th, 17th, 18th. It's the 18th, not the 16th. And then we drop just below normal for the end of this, and then the low temperatures go above normal and they stay there. So the takeaway for this forecast is this talks about the weather through the 21st of May. We've got chilly mornings Friday and Saturday. That's this Friday and Saturday. And again, Brad Moushart and I have been looking at this, and we both agree that it's one of those on the border situations. We're definitely not looking at a killing frost. I just can't see anything like that happening. However, we are talking about cool enough weather for Friday and Saturday mornings that we may be talking about upper 30s in some of the valleys in rural areas. So there could be a tinge of frost out there, but we're not talking about a killing frost. Mother's Day looks nice, as I showed you. We've got warm weather ahead, finally a string of days that's going to feel more like spring, and then it's planting and plowing weather after that. So even though there'll be some shower activity, there should be plenty of great weather for you to enjoy your gardening experience. Okay, but for me, anybody says, well, yeah, I love doing yard work. I said, why do you think they call it work? They don't call it fun, do they? Yard fun? It's yard work. But, you know, it's I have to admit, I get out there and I like to, you know, move stuff around, trim some limbs in the nice weather outside. So it's yard work, but it can be yard fun, I guess, because work can be fun. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Facebook. See who we have and comments we have. Hey, Jeff Beechler, Mr. Snow Guy, says hello. Hope you had a great day. I did, Jeff. Hope you did too. No snow in the forecast, so that's okay. Monday and Tuesday doesn't look like bad weather, just like rain and some embedded thunderstorms. Nothing severe, no flooding rains. All right, and let's see. Nancy Fisher says, thanks for the update. All right, and I don't see anybody else on here. I hope everybody's out enjoying the weather instead of sitting around watching me talk about the weather. So that's it, okay? No more comments to answer. Just Rachel Turco. Severe weather anytime soon? No, I don't think so, Rachel. I think that we will have some embedded thunderstorms Thursday. Nothing severe, just, you know, claps of thunder every once in a while, mostly just rain. And then next week, late Monday into Tuesday, maybe some more claps of thunder, but we're not looking at any kind of severe situation at the present time. So, okay, that's it. Thank you for joining me. Have yourself a great evening. Enjoy tomorrow's weather. It'll be great. Stay dry on Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, enjoy Mother's Day weekend. And make sure you tell Mom you love her and give her a big kiss. Thanks for joining me.